Hi guys, welcome back to Momina's Mixed Plate, and today I have in my lovely Zoom studio, I have Jamal Rahman, who's previously a music director and a composer, and now is an aspiring filmmaker. And his film Elizabeth has been doing the rounds on the international film circuit, like the film festival circuit, and has been doing really well. So I thought I'd catch him really quickly in between his busy schedule and see what he's up to and talk a little bit about the film. Hi, Jamal.
Hi, Momina. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you so much for being on. And guys, before we get into the interview, you guys don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you can be part of the Momina's Mixed Plate family. And let's dive in. All right, Jamal, what's going on?
Work has started again, but everybody's worried about the second wave. But things are still moving forward.
First things first. So I saw Elizabeth, and the first thing that caught my eye was, the entire feel was like really interesting, but like the monologue was something that really caught my attention. And especially with the world is a rock hurtling through space. What was the kind of like the thought process behind it? Like I understand that it was Elizabeth's monologue to calm herself.
They're sort of affirmations, right? For those who haven't seen the film, the lead character Elizabeth wakes up in the morning and she has this dialogue, a monologue rather, that she repeats to herself, which are these affirmations. But the thing is that anyone who's ever suffered from any kind of anxiety will know that affirmations are sort of a part of like the healing process, where you have to sort of rewrite the narrative that's inside your head. But I'm a big fan of subversion. So the monologue that goes through her head is actually very nihilistic.
Yeah.
It's about this kind of super cynical, super nihilistic kind of way of looking at existence, in which the earth is just a rock hurtling through space, where basically humans are meat puppets, and and our diets are questionable. That's kind of her worldview is so sort of bleak and dry, but that gives her comfort subversively. But also later in the film backfires in a way.
That's what I'm saying, that the first time I heard it, I got a feeling that it might be doing more harm to her than actually helping her. And by the end of the film, I was like, oh my God, I was actually right. Like, it was not really, it was kind of like backfiring. It was kind of adding to her anxiety rather than
absolutely
taking
she, in a normal day that may work for her, but when it comes to the crunch and when it's really being put to the test, it backfires on her, unfortunately. So she has no crutch at that specific time. I don't want to give away too much about the film, but that crucial moment when she needs help and she needs that crutch, it fails her. And that's kind of what the film is about. It is about these multitudes of anxieties that I personally felt in my life, that I'm trying to depict through Elizabeth and through this kind of cheeky, slightly humorous way. And anyone who's kind of seen the film will understand that the kind of way it's paced and the way it's cut and the way everything kind of unfolds and essentially crumbles is a lot of what people feel when they're going through anxiety. This film is a sort of culmination of my understanding of what my previous anxieties have been and how I've dealt with them. It doesn't really say how I've dealt with them, but it was cathartic for me to make a film like this that speaks about my experiences in a roundabout, indirect way, kind of manifested in this one character. I mean, a lot of her is me, like a lot of the frantic, crazy behavior, immediately excited and then immediately nervous and then defeated and so on. Like those are sort of things that kind of are roller coasters of emotions that I'm very, very privy to. So I thought it was important to kind of show that in my character as well.
It was the nuances in it were very, very well defined. I mean, just the way, even her, like the movement of her eyes, or like, she's in bed, like the way she's moving her feet, like it's like, that there's major discomfort there. And I think that it's incredible that we are now kind of in Pakistan, especially like in the last, I want to say in the last 1 year, this notion of actually taking care of your mental health has kind of been on the rise. Like, there's a lot more talk about it. Like, people want to like discuss it and like, be open about it. And I think that's incredible. Like, I think that's fantastic.
I think it's very healthy. It's definitely a step forward in the right direction.
Yeah. And I think that like with people like you, who have that creative outlet that can kind of present it in a way that's, yes, it's in a form of entertainment, but it is allowing people to think and kind of come out with their own story.
Absolutely.
I mean, if I hadn't seen this film, I might not have even spoken to you about, like, or we might never have had a conversation about me being anxious or you being anxious, or you have to deal with this problem yourself. So that, to me, I think these conversations are so important that...
Well, with any piece of work, I think if it successfully allows people to discuss something that's of importance, that immediately is a form of success in that piece of work, whatever that may be. It can be art, it can be music, it can be film, it can be whatever, right? And really, we're at a point, I think, in 2020 especially, where, like you said, mental health is important, but there are so many more issues that we are now beginning to speak about. And we have the internet to thank for that, But so it's important for anyone who's putting work out to have some kind of a conversation attached, something that I think needs to be dealt with socially or personally or what have you. And so thank you for saying whatever you've said about the film, because that's kind of what I was hoping. And, it's important to also package the message in a way that's engaging, that, gets people enraptured and, gets people thinking and talking and buzzing about it. And that's an important aspect of it, because if you're not resonating with your audience in some way or the other, then that film and that message might get lost. So, thank you for saying that, because I feel like I did my job.
I'm actually happy that I actually got your message and I understood what you were trying to say. Because, especially with art films, it's kind of like abstract art. It's like the message is there, but it's about how you kind of perceive it and what your interaction with it is, and that's kind of what you take away, and that was meant to be your experience. And you can't...
Well, I think that's also true with like commercial films that are sort of slightly open-ended, like that don't kind of conclusively say one thing or another, but leave you to question, say, two perspectives. So you have, two opposing characters, two opposing perspectives, neither of whom are wrong or right, and the film, say, in one situation doesn't give you a conclusive thing, X was right and Y was wrong, or vice versa. That leaves one with, when you leave the theater or the film ends at home or whatever, you're kind of left to question both things and decide for yourself. And I really feel that's something that interests me personally. And so trying to make work that isn't instructive in a way that says, okay, this is right, this is wrong, is not something that I want to do.
And that's also kind of, I think, allows for that space to be created where different points of views can be entertained and discussed, because I think we now live in a world that is so polarized. There are very few avenues where you can have an open discussion, because it's either, if you're, for example, if you're conservative or you're like a very liberal, like it's kind of like, and I mean like politically even, right? So you can't be moderate anymore. You have to be either or. And if you're moderate, then it's like, oh, you're like neither here nor there. Now
then you're passive. Yeah, you're too passive. And now I think is the time for proactivity. Absolutely.
Kind of like works like these, like allow people to have that conversation and allow people to, like, somebody could be like, oh, I didn't get this message out of it. And someone could say that, like they might find that monologue quite progressive and positive, and then like me were like, I thought it was kind of like negative and it was kind of detrimental to her. So there's like, in every situation there's always a different perspective, so it's kind of like
there is. And you're the first one to actually pick up on that monologue. Most people tend to focus on the core of the story, which is the main conflict at the center of it.
Yeah.
And that's totally fine, of course. That's perfectly legitimate. But you're the first person that's picked up on the monologue proper, and we've been able to dissect it. So, everyone has their own thing.
Yeah.
And every time I speak to someone about the film, I always ask them, okay, give me one thing you liked and give me one thing you did not.
I like delayed gratification. So it was just like, I was like, oh, it's over.
Yeah. I mean, I see that as a good thing, because, that means it leaves you wanting more. So maybe it'll generate some more interest for my next project.
Exactly. But okay, so thinking of our next project, what's next for you?
So we are working on a very exciting music video that is narrative based. I have the opinion that music videos have sort of lost their sheen because when I was growing up, a lot of these videos were high production value, but also at the core of it had a really cool story. Like if you think about like Michael Jackson's Remember the Time or Thriller or whatever, right? There was a story that kind of started, and the music video, it goes into the music video, and then the story comes out and concludes, and it's really kind of interesting in that you can keep watching it. There's a lot of rewatchability in that. And music videos generally now have become this sort of very stylized, very sort of high production value in terms of how lights and sets and costumes and all of that work. But the rewatchability element is missing, because once you've seen that, there's nothing really you want to go back for. So we're working on a music video that is actually like a music film, we're calling it, because there's a whole story that unfolds with the music. So it's like a film with no dialogue and just a score. And that has a lot of, we've added like a lot of really cool elements, story-wise, character-wise, set-wise, stylistically as well. So there's lots of things that can, you can go back and watch, details you may have missed, Easter eggs and things like that might be dotted around. So you want to go back and check them out. So we're trying to kind of promote this idea that narratives are the sort of main thing that we should be focusing on.
I think that's fantastic. But before I let you go, I do have one last question for you, which is that since then, like, you're now an aspiring filmmaker, what path do you think that Pakistani films are going to take, like, or should take, or what path are you going to take, especially with content? Because we've had some great films, we've had not some good ones.
Some not so good ones, yeah. So, Momina, the thing is that cinemas in Pakistan were already suffering before COVID, and now after COVID, I think that damage has been twofold. We don't have enough of an output in the cinema industry to really run screens. Pakistan doesn't make enough films, and after the Bollywood ban, what we have left is tentpole films, otherwise known as blockbusters, like Marvel movies or something, or even the Christopher Nolan movie or something. Those are sort of like really big budget tentpole movies, because they basically hold up the entire studio, right? That's the idea, like a Bond film or a Marvel film, like I said. So our cinema is limited to those blockbusters and the occasional local release, which means that the number of people coming to watch films is limited. Not a lot of people want to watch Angrezi films, English films, and local films don't seem to garner as much interest because we do have an issue with our storytelling. Production-wise, I think we've all kind of reached a really high level, but our stories seem to still be missing, that spark.
I agree with you there.
But I mean, despite that, like, I think the future is, I personally love going to the cinema. It's one of my favorite things. I'll go to the cinema alone if I have to. If nobody wants to come, I love it that much. But what's really going to happen because of the economics of the entire situation is that our OTT services are really where the sort of hope is. Z5 has started picking up, local directors and storytellers. Rails has come out to great success. Mehreen Jabbar's Ek Jhooti Love Story has just come out. So, this is a platform that is separate from the TV drama machine or the corporate machine or the government machine. So it's free of censorship. It's free of the sort of audience restraints of, TV people who seem to think that if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Ye chal raha hai sara silsila, so let's let it keep going. And it I think allows for creatives to do things that they would personally be interested in. Like Netflix has a mandate which doesn't interfere with a production once it's greenlit. So it really kind of lets filmmakers realize their vision to its fullest. And I think that's really where the future is, because the economics of it work out. If I release a film on an OTT platform today, it's available everywhere in the world, as long as that platform is available everywhere in the world. So that is extremely empowering. And I think a lot of new, young, aspiring and emerging filmmakers like myself are kind of looking towards that direction for our productions.
That's amazing. And I wish you all the best. I'm actually really looking forward to more of your work.
Thank you.
We'll have many more conversations like these about like many more films that are to come. And
yes, I hope so. So my music video is going to be out before the end of the year, hopefully. So take a look out for that.
So hopefully, like,
fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. And I hope like you guys all stay tuned. Like once it's released, I'll put it up on my Instagram, and you guys can come and check it out. And I'm hoping that it'll be fantastic.
It will be fantastic. That's my guarantee.
But anyways, thank you so much, Jamal, for taking our time and like, doing this.
Thanks so much, Momina. This was a lot of fun.
And I hope you guys enjoyed the segment. If you are dealing with anxiety or you have any kind of a mental health issue, please come out, speak about it, talk to a therapist, talk to a close friend.
Absolutely.
It's never too late to get help, and there are always people out there to help you. So I hope if there's one take back from today's episode with Jamal Rahman, that's the one that I would like for all of you to take away. And please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Let me know in the comments below what you guys thought, and I'll see you next time. Take care.